Joined by President Mung Chiang, and always a privilege to have him take the time to join us on Gold and Black. And busy day, every day is a busy day for you, but we're thankful for you taking the time to join us.
Well, great to see you again, Alan. Good to be on Gold and Black.
Yes, and it's a extremely your academic and professional life touches athletics. Certainly, it's a big part of what you do, but certainly not the only thing. But it's been a crazy world in the world of college sports, and I guess it will start just with where things are from your perspective. The Presidents have a huge role in how things are going to go moving forward from the House settlement on down. But what's from your perspective, where are we as it sits in mid-February?
Well, first of all, athletics means a lot to all Boilermakers. It means a lot to me and this institution. So we're going to do everything we can to support our athletics department. And we've got a great team. It starts with Athletic Director Mike Babinski and all the coaching staff, the AD staff, of course, the great student athletes we have. And I always enjoy being with the students, whether it's among the students in the football games and the basketball games. I usually would try to climb up the stairs if I can still these days and be with the students on the mountaintop, their student section. So people ask me, what do you feel about the future of college sports, intercollegiate athletics? And my answer is that I feel very optimistic in the long run. There's going to be a lot of changes, like it or not, coming our way. But we're going to do very well in the end as Boilermakers. And I feel very optimistic for the long-term future of college athletics. And people ask why? Well, because you look at the faces of the student athletes and look at the faces of the fans, especially those students. And then you have that renewed sense of love for college athletics, and you feel that to renew the sense of optimism that in the end, I think we're going to come out of this whole change process just fine. It will be a different world, but we're not going to lose the basic spirit of college athletics. We're never shy away from supporting our student athletes.
Yeah, and you've had to manage change in your professional life everywhere you've gone, and what do you learn in this situation? I mean, obviously you're comfortable with your staff at Mike Babinski on down and their ability to deal with the change, but just that general notion of what do you tell people in this world where we not only in athletics, but we're dealing with all kinds of change, and what's your message not only to our folks but to your students in terms of how best to approach that?
Well, first of all, always have to remember student athletes are athletes and students, and we've never forgotten about that here at Purdue. I'm very proud to say that our student athletes graduation rate is actually a little higher than the campus average. Our student athletes come from all backgrounds and major in all kinds of fields. Their average GPA is basically the same as the campus as a whole, and we don't do grade inflation here at Purdue. And 100% placement rate among those who graduated a year ago and this year to their desired careers. So kudos to the student athletes. In my prior job as Dean of Engineering College, already started collaborating America's best AD Mike Babinski for years and hosting receptions for the graduating student athletes in that college, thanking them, giving us so much pride and joy, but also recognizing that, look, these are 18 to 22-year-old most likely, and they have to balance their academic and athletic and social lives. They've got a lot on their plates, and they're able to handle them so well. They've got the discipline, they've got the drive, and they've got the emotional, mental resilience to stand back up where they may have fallen. So our admirations for these student athletes are deep. Now, we've got a few different challenges coming up. There is no particular order. I count them in one hand, try to do that. There's the NIL, there's the transfer portal, there's the House settlement, there's the betting issues, and then there's the conference realignment. We can dive into any of these five,
Yeah.
and then it might take a whole hour for
Yeah.
any one of those.
Yeah, that's interesting. You bring up the fourth one, which I think is one of the biggest challenges, just the gambling world. And Purdue has had a reputation of being, pretty high integrity. And that's been the reputation of the school since 1869 in a lot of ways. But
You bet.
again, that message of the money part of all this is really
Mhm.
challenging. When you have that 18 to 22-year-old, I know your children are not quite to that age yet, but they're
Mhm.
going to get there.
Mhm.
And you have that being able to balance that. What's that message to them in terms of not just student athletes, but everybody that could be involved in all the money that's around college sports, whether it be gambling, whether it be NIL, on down the line?
Well, it's all about integrity, sportsmanship. It's all about teamwork and respect and resilience. And I'll give you an example. For example, let's talk about the Final Four run last
Yeah.
season with men's basketball. And we were there at every one of the 6 games to the championship game. And after we won the ticket to Final Four for the first time in 44 years in Detroit, the cameras on TV, you saw all that, panned across the wonderful faces and happy, joyful faces, including Zach Edey, who, without the need of a letter, cut his part of the net. It was a
Yeah.
big chunk, and I was there
Yes,
on
you
the
are.
court. I was wondering, oh, that's a big chunk. But then I saw something maybe not reported on TV. He cut half of that net and walked over and gave it to Gene Katie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the Boilermaker spirit. That is winning, but winning the Boilermaker way. He shows respect. He remembers the past. That's how we can build the future. Even though Coach Katie did not coach him at all, did coach his coach. But look, these are just remarkable young men and women. We're so proud of them on the court, off the court, in training and in classroom, in labs. And that's just one example out of many. So I don't know about all the hundreds of universities out there in D1. I only serve this university, and I'm proud to serve. I told my family at that moment, say, look, that is why we're so proud to be a Boilermaker.
Our best picture is on our website of you standing in the corner and Matt Painter holding up. You couldn't have posed you more better, because you're doing exactly what you should be doing and cheering everybody out. Braden Smith, Matt Painter on down the line. A magical.
We've been waiting for 44 years.
Yeah, that's right.
Final Four finally.
Yeah.
So, by the way, they're doing very well this season as well, even without Zach. And Zach is doing quite well in his professional life. And we're going to actually see him next week when Grizzlies come over to Gainbridge Fieldhouse to play the Pacers. And I'm have to think about how do I chair for which team and so on. But, I'm going to chair for Pacers, but also chair for Boilermakers. But they're doing very well. Coach Painter, who just received the highest employee award, we presented to him not long ago. He's been here with us for many seasons and winning a lot of the seasons, but also he's been able to find a way, even without Zach, to have a winning team. And we cannot win every single game in a season, but we're winning a lot. We're very proud of that.
When you look at and Mike Babinski's talked about this, the competitive advantage that Purdue could have, not only, I think, twofold. One is if the House settlement allows for a leveling off to some extent. But secondly, I think maybe Purdue's trying to do as much with what you've spoken about, and that is that this is a place that actually students go, and you'd like them to stay for 4 years or 5 years, whatever it takes for them to graduate. Talk about that and that role that might, in the end of the day, help Purdue in the long run, as you mentioned, in this new world of college sports.
Well, first of all, we have to stay competitive and support our teams and coaches in order to be able to win games. And furthermore, we have to continue to balance our academic and athletics. We're not going to give up on the academic side of it either. And I think that at the end of the day, it's really about that fan spirit. It's about that school spirit. We're proud of the fan base very much as well. There was no burning of cars when we got to the championship game here back in West Lafayette. I heard one mattress was burned, but nothing beyond that. Nobody got hurt. Our fan base traveled to Detroit and Phoenix. More than half of the folks in Phoenix reportedly were Boilermakers wearing gold and black. And somebody told me, said, "Hey, you Boilermakers are very special." I say, "Well, I know that, but what do you think?" Well, I said, they pick up their own trash after they leave a party. So we're very proud of them. So in the end, it's really about elevating and continue to uphold the values and the character of this institution.
Well, Purdue football had a season last year that it'd like to move on from. It's going to, with Coach Barry Odom being hired. You know, you're involved with the interview process. You've done this in many walks of life. What were your impressions of him in that process, and what makes you optimistic about the future with Coach Barry Odom?
Well, we are moving on. By the way, I've never interviewed football coaches until this time. That's my first time. So it was a great experience. We have a lot of respect for Coach Odom, and he has been head coach now the third time. He's seen how SEC and Big Ten play, and he has demonstrated already he could turn things around very, very quickly at UNLV within one season. And then he demonstrated yet again the second season to turn the program around. So he has demonstrated his ability to do that. That's what we need. We are very optimistic about the new season. So I hope to see you at the end of August at our game here. And we're going to have a great season, I think.
What do you like about his personality? I mean, he seems pretty engaging. He's a people person. What strikes you from that standpoint?
Well, I enjoy the conversation with him a lot, and I think he's been able to build out a coaching staff and get a lot of great students come over to Purdue and building out that team, and they are working very hard. He's not stopped working from the first hour in December. And I think we're going to have a Ross-Ade Stadium that's going to be feeling very excited coming up.
You know, you look at the landscape of college sports, and there is some concern that the day may turn where you're going to have 2 or 3 sports and all the other sports will not be funded. How do you look at that and say the importance of having, 18 or 19 sports, whatever Purdue has currently, and that part of the student experience?
Well, first of all, we support and love every one of our teams. And I've been to a particular meet or a game with every one of those. And I think that Purdue is also a little different from many other institutions in this regard, that for Olympic sports, for example, we continue to support them the same way as we did before. And as we mentioned, just 2 days ago, when Stephanie White invited her to come back as a presidential lecturer, we had a fireside chat. And of course, she's very busy now as the new head coach for the Fever. And not just Kaylin Clark, she's building out a whole team. We had a great time. It should be on YouTube somewhere, talking about athletics in general, many of the topics that Alan, you just brought up, including how NIL and transfer portal needs some kind of a guardrail, how the potential House settlement, depending on the judge's decision on April 7th, may help perhaps level set the playing field a little bit between places like Purdue versus some of the very, very large programs and the implications of these conference realignment. So we talked a lot about these topics. Now, Stephanie, she herself is the legend of women's basketball. Well, so far, Big Ten has only won the national title once and once only, and that's the Boilermaker team, 1999. And she was there as the combo guard, and since then she's done amazing work. A big fan of hers, and what she highlighted was also we got to put the smiling faces back to college athletics, the sense of pride and joy and belonging that this is my team, this is my university, and by the way, these are my classmates.
Yeah.
Maybe just a year ago, they were at a small town high school somewhere in Indiana, and now they're on national TV. and a lot of pressure on their shoulders. And they still have to, after this, head back home and do their homework and turn in their lab report and get ready for their pre-med applications and so on. So I asked myself, when I was 18 years old, could I have handled any of those? No way. So we have to always remember, these are our classmates. These are our students here. But now I'm just digressing. I forgot what you asked me. Supporting the other sports. So absolutely. In fact, starting last month, I'm fortunate enough to be interviewed and then elected to the board of directors for the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. Yeah. And we've got two Olympic Paralympic games coming, one summer game and one winter game coming up to the United States. It's a high honor to serve on that board. And I believe they were looking for the least athletic person in America. I was one of the three.
There you go.
Lucky enough to be invited to be part of that. So yes, it's about that spirit, being an athlete, and how that reflects and reinforce the message and the character of education.
Nobody better than Stephanie White, by the way, and you now know that she's not only an ambassador for Purdue, but ambassador for the way things are supposed to be done. She's as good as it gets, certainly. All right, Katie Gerald's team has struggled. They are now playing a little bit better. They've got wins.
Last night was good.
Yeah. Talk about what your message is, because, it doesn't always, there are winners and losers in games, and you want to try to get your program to where you want to be. But when you watch them and have a chance to chat with Katie, I know you're not a micromanager on this, but by the same token, how do you view the need for that program to get back to the level that could contend for a national championship like it won in 1999?
Well, we have a glorious legacy, as you just mentioned, in Stephanie White and her whole team, and Coach Pack, and she was the National Player of the Year. And we are going to find ways to get back to that wonderful state of our competitiveness in women's basketball. Now, you don't want me to micromanage anything. Particularly, you don't want me to micromanage basketball.
Yeah, got it.
We've got a great coach in Coach Katie, and Mike Bobinski, our AD, is in conversation to see what more can we do to support her and her team in the coming seasons. And also, as you highlighted, look, they're going to play a game, and one team is going to win, the other is not. And that's how it works. Yeah. What matters is how can you stand up exactly the spot where you may have tripped and fallen. So last night, the game in Mackey against the Wildcats, that was a very good game. That's the kind of wins that we need. And we're going to keep trying our very best to win more.
Yeah, and the House settlement might benefit women's basketball, and then all those kinds of things, or the new world of revenue share could present.
There's a lot of unintended consequences. Some might be good. Some might not be so good. But there's a lot of unintended consequences. And look, one game at a time. And we're going to find ways not only in men and women basketball and football and women volleyball, but truly everything that Purdue chooses to do, we're going to try to win. I'm going to try to win the Boilermaker way.
All right. And you've got to run to another important meeting. But last question for you: just when you're on the jumbotron in football and your appearances in basketball, what's that like? I mean, you're among the students, but among the students and all of that. But what that has to be an interesting experience when you do that each football weekend.
Yes. Oh, well, look, our students and our fan base are the best. I know I'm biased, but they are the best. And you ask me, what was it like? I tell you, it's a lot of fun, Alan. It's a lot of fun. That's what sports is supposed to do. Yeah. It transcends a lot of human differences. It put people together. And as Stephanie White said, it puts smiles. It's supposed to put smiles on people's faces. And you see families there. You see students there. You see alum coming back from years ago and far away, and sports, especially intercollegiate athletics. supposed to transcends, uplifts, and inspires. And I do have worry, as you do, Alan, how some of these changes, unintended consequences, may dampen that spirit. But here we've got a great team. It's always the who before the what. We've got a great team in athletics. We thank all the coaches and student athletes working with the AD's office. And I think that whatever happens elsewhere, here at Purdue, we're going to continue to try our very best to stay true to our character in the future as we did in the past. So I say boiler up to produce Boilermaker spirit, inspiring all of us.
All right, well said. It is going to be a big one on Saturday when Wisconsin comes, Big Ten championship ramifications on down the line. So that is the best thing.
We have a alumni annual gathering in Florida, and I'll be there like hundreds of other alums. So we're going to have a watch party. I think Saturday is going to be Saturday at 1 o'clock. Yep. Yes. So I hope you'll be in the Mackey. I always enjoy going to Mackey. You know, when the season ends, I say, "Oh, when can the season start again?" Can't wait. And well, look, the season isn't over yet. It's always one game at a time.
Yeah. Well said. And safe travels to Florida. Thanks so much for your time. We're grateful for that as well. We'll be back. Another Boilermaker legend, Rick Mount, will join us in the next segment. We appreciate President Chiang and his time. And again, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Always good to be on Gold and Black. Boiler up.